Good morning from Big Sky Country. I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks. And yes, it's been a long time since I've done one of these videos. The last month and a half, I've been doing a lot of start to finish videos on all the Lego that I have been putting into inventory. And I was in such a groove that I just focused on that and not on these other type of videos. And I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to watch those videos. If there's something that you particularly enjoy about those videos, let me know. If you don't like them at all, let me know that too, because I'm doing these videos for everybody, and if a majority of you don't like those, I'll stop doing them. But I enjoy doing them because I love to see how much of a profit I'm making on the stuff I'm buying, or if I'm making a profit at all. So a while back in the comments, I had somebody ask, and I'm paraphrasing here, I haven't looked up the actual comment, but basically how I upload from Brickstore. And that got me to thinking, and I realized that I had done one on Brickstore, I believe, but I've never done the whole process. I have a couple of parts that came in a minifigure bulk lot that I bought for my husband. It's just a couple of parts, and I thought that would be a great way to show you how I put things into Brickstore and my process when I upload it. And so I will be using the capturing software for that. And as many of you know, when I use that capturing software, the audio is terrible. So I'm going to apologize for that right from the get-go. But before I dive into that, I do want to remind everybody that Brickstore is a free application, but you can donate to the developers. And I would highly recommend that. As somebody who works in IT and is married to somebody who does database administration and coding, I know how much work goes into those. And so I try to remember every month or so to donate a couple of dollars here and there. I try to think about what I would be willing to pay per month if it was a pay subscription service to this application. And I try to remember to donate that much every month. I don't always, but I do try. I would recommend anybody who is using Brickstore to at least consider throwing a little bit of money their way so they will continue to have Brickstore out there for us to use. Because for me, it's an awesome thing to use when uploading, and with Brick and Knives, it has been so easy. I'm surprised at how much I have gotten done just in June alone. And a lot of that has to do with Brick and Knives. Instead of trying to find the number on the piece, look up the number, I can just hold it up. There you go, we're done. So if you haven't done it before, I would highly recommend donating to Brickstore just to keep that application out there for us. So I'm going to quit rambling, and we're going to jump into the data capturing software so I can show you what I do when I am uploading from Brickstore. Before I jump into the capturing software, I did have a couple of things I wanted to explain. Generally, I would not do this small of an upload by itself. I would normally just throw these pieces in with my massive collection of Lego I have sitting behind me. But for this video, I'm going to be doing this. But what I would always do is I would sort out the pieces. So here I've got it laid out kind of in categories. I have animals, plates, minifigures, some brick modified plates, plate modified, and the minifigures, utensils. What I would also do, like this little guy here, I'm going to check to make sure that all of those parts are the correct parts for this minifigure. And then with this one, I will probably look in my inventory to see if I have another arm for him. If I don't have the correct arm, then he will get taken apart and all the parts will be sold separately. Same with this guy here. With this guy here, he's just going to be taken apart. I'm missing too many pieces to be able to get him together, so he will just be taken apart and I'll sell those parts individually. Normally I would do a big sort similar to what I have over here for these, where I would sort them all out by size and color and then upload them. But for this video, we're just going to do these few parts here. I have my Brickstore up and running, and I was talking about donating. If you do wish to support Brickstore, you can click this little link right here. And I'm going to go ahead and open a new file. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. And I have a file that I save all of these in. And I always put the date on it just so I can quickly glance to see what my last upload was. And I also have my view set up. There's quite a bit here that I don't use. So I have changed my views and I have created a custom view, which I call my layout, which will get rid of some of the stuff that I don't use. And I'm going to open up to add items. And I'm on the minifigures. Like I said, I figured out that I could create 2 minifigures. I did have to take 2 arms for this guy out of inventory. So I did that, and I'm going to add this guy here to my inventory. And I'm going to add this one here as well, because I was able to make 2 minifigures. And then I'm going to change the item type over to part. And then I'm going to add these various parts into inventory. Most of these I know what they are, so I'm just going to go to the category. Like for the modified bricks, I'm going to clear my filter. And I know what I'm looking for, so it's almost easier to just scroll to find what I need. I have one of those in light bluish gray, so I'm going to add that. And I have one of these in light bluish gray, and I'm going to add that. And I'm going to continue to do that for the miscellaneous parts. For some of these, I am going to use the Recognize option, and I'm going to just hold this up, and you can see that it's really blurry when I go to take the picture, but it will still bring up that particular one. I'm not sure how it does that when the picture is so blurry, but it's magic and we're going to go with that. So I have a couple of parts like that where it's just easier to use Bricklink, and I'm just going to hold those up and click and add. We'll do the same thing with the little animals. Anything that I think will take me some time to look up or I'm not familiar with, I use this option. We have 2 of those. We have 5 of these guys. Make sure I'm getting the right one. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of these added and then I will come back and show you a couple of little tricks that I was not aware of until I watched some videos, particularly I think Ralph's Brick Shop videos. There's some stuff because my husband and I, we use this, but we use it at the most basic level. And so when we watch videos of people using this, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do that. And so we've learned a lot by watching videos and been able to incorporate a lot of the things we see. So I really appreciate the other creators that show their little tips and tricks on using Brickstore, because I would not take the time to sit there and play with it and figure out what everything does. So I appreciate them doing that. But let me get some more of these parts in and then I will show you a couple of those tricks that I have learned. I am currently down to my last part, which I know is a weapon, and I know it is a sword, and I have it in a unique color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up that color, which happens to be yellowish green, and I'm going to lock that color in, and that's going to show me these 3 parts are the only ones that come in the yellowish green, and it happens to be this part. And I think I've shown this tip before, but I love this tip. The other thing I wanted to show you was this right here. You're able to move it so that you can look at it to make sure that you are looking at the same part, which I have used a lot of times on ones that are very similar, trying to figure out which part I have. That comes in very useful as well. A couple of other things that I use quite a bit when I use this now is I have put my cost in here. I have an average cost. This is just what per piece it costs me on average, and I put that in there. I always keep it on used because obviously I sell used parts. So those are the two things that are preset in my brick store when I'm uploading. However, when I was doing the minifigures, because there's multiple parts, I did increase that for each individual part of the minifigure. The other thing I do when I'm working is I always keep it on known colors because this will bring the list down. You can see that this one part only comes in those 5 colors. So I keep it at the known colors. Occasionally there'll be one that for whatever reason is not coming up under the known colors, then I will click the all colors and choose the color that I'm looking for. But the known colors also helps me make sure that I have the right part because a lot of times the parts will be very similar, but they're only available in certain colors. So this will help me make sure that I'm on the right part. The other thing that I will sometimes update as I'm going through is where the minifigure goes. Most of the time, I'm able to find the piece in my store and I'm able to just put it in that drawer. But sometimes it'll be a new part, like this dog was new to my store, so I had to find a drawer to put that in. I actually had to move a bunch around because I have all my animals are pretty much in one drawer because I don't have that many, but because I had so many of these dogs, I ended up having to move all the dogs to their own drawer. So it took me a little bit longer to do this than it normally would. This guy we've never had in our store before, so I put his remark in there as well. Occasionally, we'll use the comments. My husband uses this quite a bit because he does sell some minifigure body parts that are just slightly scratched or have a little crack, but we know that somebody might still want it. So he has comments in there letting people know that it's got a little bit of an imperfection. He doesn't put anything that's really scratched or broken. Those go into a different area. Those we will eventually sell on eBay as just a minifigure mix lot of basically broken minifigure parts, and people still buy them. So it's kind of amazing to me. So he uses these comments quite a bit for things like that. He never puts minifigures together with scratched or broken parts. Any of the minifigures you get in our store will be great to excellent condition because we know that a lot of collectors are looking for very specific minifigures and they don't want those scratches, dents, teeth marks, whatever. So none of those get put on a complete minifig. But like I said, we will sell the individual parts that might have a small scratch or whatever. But he's very picky because I've looked at him and go, "Are you sure this is scratched?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, if you look under a magnifying glass." So he's very picky about what goes into the store. The other thing that we found out and why we never did this before is beyond me. Oh, I forgot to save that in that color. There we go. Is if I want to figure out where this goes in my store, I can right click and put show in my store. And this will bring up on my other monitor, and I'm going to pause this and do the dual monitor to show you what I'm talking about. All right, now you can see my two screens. And if I wanted to figure out where this one went, I would put show in my Bricklink store. And it's going to pop it up over here and it's going to show me what drawer in my store this goes to. Now that I have everything in Brickstore that I plan on uploading, I'm going to do Control All and I'm going to come up to the price and I'm going to put the 6-month sales average because that's what I sell the parts for. You can also do the current inventory average. And I'm going to click OK. And if there were any errors, they would show up. They would tell you that there was an error that one of the parts didn't price out. And that's usually because the part hasn't sold in the last 6 months. And then I will use the current average. I always sort to see if I had any good finds. In this one, I had 3 good finds for this one. So anything over $1 I consider a good find. Once I do that, I go ahead and save the file. And the other thing is, once you have everything highlighted and you have your cost in there, you can see what your profit will be. So I can see that on average, we paid maybe a little less than $1 for all those parts, but we're going to be able to sell everything for over $11. Once I have it saved, I'm going to go ahead and export. I'm going to hit export and I'm going to hit upload to clipboard. Uploading will add to what you already have in inventory. Update will just add what you have in your Brickstore file, and it will overwrite anything that you might have in there. So always want to do upload. And for me, once it's here, I'm going to hit Control V to paste. Okay, now this is where you're going to see huge differences in how stores upload. If you've watched any other videos on what stores do, everybody does everything a little bit differently. For my store, we are going to use the new price and new tier pricing. We're also going to have the new cost, but we're going to keep all the old sale prices, remarks, extended descriptions, things like that will all stay as the old. The other thing we're going to do is we are going to retain after the part is sold out. This is what we do in our store. A lot of stores don't do this, but this is something we do because generally the parts will go back in the same drawer. So we want to retain it so we can see where to put those parts. Once I have this here, I'm going to verify the file, make sure everything looked good, that everything has remarks. I updated this one, but apparently I need to go in and update the remarks on this one. But you'll see that I have everything in there. It's saying that it's going to be consolidated with an existing lot, which is very important to us because we don't want to have 15 lots of the same colored part. You will see some stores have a large lot count for their store, and this is because they're not consolidating. And when you go into their store, you're going to see that they have like 10 lots of a blue 1x1 brick, and a lot of times you'll also see them at various prices, which, if you're not even going to consolidate, at least keep them at the same price. But we don't want to do that. We want our store to look clean when people come in to look for parts. If we do have two lots of the same part and color, generally there'll be some kind of comment like the part is scratched or there's a sticker on it, something to let you know that this is why we have two of the same lot. Although since Bricklink has consolidated things, we do have quite a few parts out there that do have two, just because we haven't updated our stuff yet on our side. So I just do a quick scroll down. If there's ever an issue, you're going to see that it's highlighted and they're going to tell you that there's an issue with one of them uploaded. I can also see that I have 34 items in 25 unique lots for $11, which is what it showed on Brickstore. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this file. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to view the updated inventory. I'm going to come over here to show more options, and I'm going to make sure that none of my parts are missing my remarks. And then I'm going to hit go. And then I'm going to sort by quantity down so that anything with quantity will show up first. And I don't. So I don't have anything that wasn't missing a remark that has a part to it. I'm going to go back to my store inventory. I'm going to go to by availability. I'm going to go to stockroom A because we retain everything. If there are parts that were zero that now have lots in them, they're going to show up here. And so this I had had in my store before, but we had sold out and now we have more in our store. So I'm just going to check to make sure that there's a remark here, that the cost is correct, and then I'm just going to click the stockroom A to take it out of stockroom A and make it available for sale. And like this one, this is one of the reasons I do this, is so that I can put in the correct remark. But I didn't have the right number. There we go. And take it out. And then I'm just going to hit OK. So now those parts are available in my store. The one last thing I'm going to check is I'm going to exclude stockroom items, show more items, and then I'm going to show items on my wanted list. So if I happen to upload something that I'm looking for, it will show up here. None of those parts are on any of my wanted lists, so I don't need to take those out of inventory. If there was something here, I would take it out of my inventory and take it off my wanted list. So one last part I wanted to add to this is how people get their parts from when they load it into Brickstore to actually putting it in the drawer or wherever they're storing the part. You will notice if you go out and watch videos on this process of different stores, every store does it a little bit differently. Everybody has their own way to get that part from point A to point B. For me, particularly, because I have a small area, I'm not using a cart in a way like Pop's Brick Shop or Ralph's Brick Shop is doing. I just put the part into Brickstore and then I look to see where it goes and I put it away. If I'm doing like bricks or plates, I will do all of one size and do all the colors for that size plate or brick, and then I will put them away. Because generally on the bricks and plates, they're pretty close to the same place, so I can just grab one of the bigger drawers and put those parts away. It is a time-consuming process because of that. That's just the way I've always done it. I'm sure there are 100 different ways I could do it to get from point A to point B a lot faster, but I am a creature of habit and routine, and I hate to change things up. So maybe in the future I'll figure out a faster way for me to do that, but right now that's how I do it. You will also see that a lot of stores won't retain their items. They will put empty drawers in a bin, and when they go to put it away, they'll grab one of those bins and they'll throw the parts in it, which works just as well. I don't do that, for one, because I stare at these stack-ons when I'm working during the day and my OCD kicks in and I cannot handle all the little holes of the empty drawers. Plus, I really don't have any place to store a lot of empty drawers, so it's just easier for me to keep them in the stack-on and just write a list of the empty drawers and pull one when I need one. I would highly encourage you to go out and watch different stores on their sorting process, how they put things into Brickstore, and how they get it from point A to point B, from Brickstore to their inventory, just because there are so many different ways to do it, and you can pick up little hints and tips and tricks and things that will work for you or things that won't work for you. But it's a good way to kind of learn that process and see what other people are doing. I have really utilized Brickstore in the last 30 days and been able to really power through getting a lot of parts in. I think I've put more parts in June than I ever have before. And it was really actually kind of exciting to see how much was going into my inventory. In this process, there are 100 different ways to do things. So like I said, I encourage you to watch other videos. The one thing I would recommend though is to consolidate your parts. Don't have a whole bunch of lots of the same part, because as a buyer, when you go and look at that, you're confused. It's like, is there a reason these are different parts? Why are there 10 different lots for this blue 1x1 brick? And it really, to me, it shows that they're just throwing the parts into their inventory. They're not really paying attention to what they're doing. And so I might be a little bit more hesitant to buy from that store, but that's just my opinion as a seller and a buyer. I guess it's a pet peeve, so consolidate. It would be my take. And the information that you put from Brickstore to Bricklink is totally up to you. I do the my cost just so I have an idea of what my profit is per order that I get. It's just kind of nice to see that, oh, I sold these 10 parts and I did make a little bit of a profit. But that's just me. I have spreadsheets to keep track of stuff like that too, so it helps me know whether or not I'm getting a good deal or a bad deal, or if I need to stop bidding so much or maybe start bidding more when I go on to eBay. So it's just a personal preference for me. So if there is anything that I missed in this process, if it's not making sense, or if there's something that you do that you think might be beneficial to other people, please put those in the comments below. I'm always learning. Like I said, a lot of these tips and tricks I've gotten either from my own comments or from watching other videos, and things that have really helped speed up that process of getting parts into inventory. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.